I had a really interesting conversation about music and AI and the tools that people are using and the slop that's coming out all over the internet. The AI creates. And to be honest, I had to admit that I know in the future, when I hear some stuff, I know I'm going to like it, reluctantly. So, because it works on algorithms, it looks on what you know. It kind of intimately knows you. But the conversation I was having was about, what gave artists of today the understanding or feeling that they were never going to be disrupted, that everything was fine, everything was going to be, just coasting along. And I always say, these days, if you want to be an artist, you can't just be an artist. And if you don't want to pay somebody to do those things that you don't want to do, then go back to the first statement I just said. If you want to just be an artist, you can't just be an artist. I guess my contribution to the conversation, it was about just being real, being authentic, and being human, because we can't go at scale and produce things at scale like AI can. However, what we can do is build community. And the person I was talking to, he's saying, community feels like heavy lifting. I'm like, yeah, it is heavy lifting. Sometimes you do have to lift heavy because the work, that's what the work is. And it relates back to what I was saying about, being an artist and not just being an artist. It's hard to do that these days. Things have changed. It's like in years gone by, I would say in medieval times, when you were an artist, you had this air of almost royalty of privilege, and that you were revered by society because you had these skills. That changed. That changed a lot, didn't it, over the years? So the fact that we should just create and just be artists and I just want to create the art. Yeah, go ahead. See how far you get. And you might enjoy that. You might be a trustafarian, that you're able to not worry about the money, but you might be somebody that actually wants to be sustainable, rather than going to Mummy or Daddy or the trust or trust and foundations for your permission to be able to move forward. So the conversation, that was what the conversation was, how important it's going to be for artists, live artists, to talk about process, to talk about not just having a transactional relationship with their customers, because if it's transactional, they're customers. People, they're my audiences, they're my fans, but you're only going to them when you want them to buy a ticket to your stuff, to attend something, or your merch, or your whatever. So it's transactional. What I'm talking about is building community, and building community is something that's far deeper, and it's almost like you're using your art to be able to solve problems for them, or help them solve problems. So it's not just saying, my art or my song, the problem, it will relieve them or make them happy for the day. I don't mean that. I mean stuff that's a lot deeper than that. There's a concept. It's called there's a book written by. It's called 1,000 True Fans, and the premise of it is that you only need 1,000 true fans to be sustainable. Now that sustainability and the way that they feel value is more than just being transactional. Is you're creating something for them or with them, and really reaching out to them to be part of your journey. And the way that they feel valued and be part of your journey, if you are talking about process, if you're documenting process. And that's another thing, people think with their socials they have to make some special content. If you're just documenting what you're doing it anyway. All you're doing is holding a camera, pretty much like I am now. I'm just chatting and talking about my process. So again, my process for this year is definitely going to be focused on community, building community, finding like-minded people.